How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's EDC. It is a beautiful Friday. We have a test update for you guys on the knives that we have been using for the whole month of September. This will be very fun and relaxing, so I hope that you have a drink, maybe a little snack. I'm going to be showing the knives, but mostly just informational stuff today, so you can turn this on and just listen to it if you're at work or something. But yeah, this is going to be the update of the test knives, guys. So if you have not been following, we are testing the Benchmade Bugout in S30V. We are also testing the Spyderco Sage 5 Lightweight in S30V. And we are testing the Case Sodbuster Junior in their True Sharp Stainless Steel, which is essentially 440 stainless. And we are not necessarily testing the steel so much on this knife, but more so the recover by my friend Josh. This is a beautiful mod that he did on this knife, and we are testing the durability and the quality of this build because he's never really done it before. So let's do the larger folding knives first, and then we'll get into the little soddy. The testing on these has gone really, really well. It's actually been very eye-opening and surprising for me because S30V has been around for quite some time. When it initially came out, it was, you know, the best of the best, and everyone was really excited about it. It's a stainless steel with, in my opinion, good edge retention, but it, it's been totally put on the back burner ever since we've had these higher end steels come out like MagnaCut and 15V and such, and people don't even really talk about S30V anymore. But I've always really liked it, and I wanted to see if one of these companies did it better than the other, Benchmade versus Spyderco. So I put a 15-degree bevel on each one of these. There wasn't anything wrong necessarily with the factory edge bevel, but I actually really like using 15 degrees per side. I think it enhances the cutting performance of almost any EDC knife if it can handle a bevel that wide. That's something that Steve Kalari taught me over at Kalari Customs. He, you guys all know Super Steel Steve. He's a genius. He makes his own knives now. And a little while back, he taught me the whole 15 DPS thing. So I've really been integrating it into my EDC knives, and there are very few knives in my collection that do not have a 15 DPS edge. I genuinely, through my testing, have found that it greatly enhances your edge retention, your cutting performance. It's 100% worth putting that fat bevel on your knife. I really think it's a necessity, especially with those steels that tend to glass out like S45 VN. So I tested the factory bevels on both of these knives. The Benchmade was at, I think, 17-ish. This one was actually closer to 15, and I just kind of cleaned it up. But these have been doing exceptionally well with not only the 15 DPS edge, but also a highly polished and semi-polished edge. So it's interesting because a lot of the steels that I've used, it's either black or white. Like they do well with a mirror polished edge, or they don't. Like the Maximate, for instance, it just didn't perform well with that polished edge. And it was very apparent that a 600 grit working edge is the way to go for like Maximate, right? And then on the opposite, or not the opposite end, on the same topic, like S45 VN, for example, I really don't like bringing it up to a high polish because, again, it works the best with a 600 grit working edge. But then there are some steels that you can bring to a very high polish and they do exceptionally well, and they don't necessarily lose their tooth and their bite. I believe so far S30V is one of those steels. So this Benchmade here, granted I've been using it and it's really dirty, I think you guys can see it's pretty darn reflective. This is dropped to 0.5 micron, and it's really performing the best it's ever performed. This is not my first go around with the Bugout, and surely not my first go around with the Bugout in S30V. And in using this, I actually 100% enjoy S30V being this highly polished as opposed to a working finish, which is crazy for me to say because I'm the type of person where it's like 600 DMT, leave it at that, end of story. This one I brought up to 1200 DMT and then stropped it all the way to 0.5 micron, and it's just unbelievable the edge retention I'm getting out of this. It feels like a different knife. It feels like a different steel. Generally, when I have left this at a working edge or a working finish, it will cut for a decent period of time, but that, I guess we call it front end sharpness, tends to kind of, fall apart a little bit pretty quickly. And I've actually noticed that with the fully polished edge, it is still, man, it is unbelievable how toothy this is and how sharp this is still. And I've been using it a lot. So maybe S30V is one of those steels where you can, go all out and really polish that edge. And it actually is worth it. It's not just pretty, it's functional. Because this has been performing, like I said, crazy different to when I've just left my S30V at a working finish. So far, I'm really liking the high polish edge on the Benchmade S30V. Now, we did something a little different on this Sage 5 lightweight. I ran it at the same exact edge in terms of finishing process as the Bugout at first. It performed well, but not as good as the Bugout. So I decided just for funsies, I would actually convex this edge and semi-polish it. So it's definitely reflective, but it's not as reflective as the Bugout. I brought this to 600 grit DMT, and then I actually just jumped on the strops and did all the way to 0.5 micron as well, I believe, and just to toy around with it. And that's a pretty big jump between like 600 grit pattern and then going to like a polished strop. But I just wanted to toy around with it and see what happened, right? And we got like a polish. It's definitely reflective, but it has much more bite than it did when I gave it the same treatment as this. And I convexed it. So on the strops specifically, I really convexed this edge just for fun, just to see if it changed the edge stability at all. I wanted to see if it cut differently, but it's actually performing really, really well. And I did not expect that. I thought that this was not going to work as well as the non-convexed edge, but man, this is just a ripper. It's still going through cardboard with ease. It's still very, very sharp. It's definitely a surprise, and I don't really see a reason for convexing any EDC knife, really. That's a little bit more of like a bushcraft type deal. But again, like, how are we going to know any of this stuff if we don't toy around with these theories and ideas and test them, right? Like, we're just never going to know. So yeah, this has a convex edge. It's working very well. The edge retention is still doing really, really good in comparison to what I thought it would. Nice fat bevel on there. Yeah, it's doing great. Do I recommend like taking the time to convex an EDC edge? I mean, I don't think so. I don't think I'm getting anything that is an advantage to me over a normal bevel. But if you are someone who beats on your knives and maybe you're at the risk of damaging your edge bevel, maybe convexing your edge is not a bad idea because you're providing a little bit of extra strength and stability and not compromising your edge retention. From my testing so far, right? I mean, things could change, but so far this is doing incredibly well, and it really is tough as nails. I have hit staples with this, and I've been cutting on some pretty hard surfaces, things that maybe could roll and or chip the edge. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So this being convex is really adding some some good durability to it, and so far not sacrificing edge retention in the slightest. I think that S30V is just a good steel. I'm actually having a really fun time testing it, even though it's fairly outdated. We have so many steels that have come out after this. You know, we had S35 VN come out, then we had the S45 VN come out, then we had Magnicut, and then we had 15V, and now we have, like, you know, Apex Ultra and stuff, which that's a little more for, like, kitchen knives, I think. But nonetheless, I mean, there are so many new steels coming out all the time, and S30V just is not talked about, yet I'm having the time of my life testing these, and they're performing very, very well. Very well so far. So that's the update on the S30V testing. I'm obviously not going to say which version I like better or anything like that, because we're too early into it, but I just wanted to say, like, S30V is still one of my top ranked steels, and now that I know how to, like, highly polish these edges, it's even more enjoyable because they're beautiful and functional. Now, we're 11 minutes into this thing and we haven't even gotten to the Soddy. So this is the Case Sodbuster Jr. that I sent to my friend Josh because he wanted to toy around with recovering this. He had never really done it before, and he just basically winged it. And this is what he came up with, which is incredible to me because, you know, it just goes to show that there are some people in this world that they're just talented. Like, they were just born with a gift. The attention to detail is pretty incredible, and they're able to, like, see a plan in their mind and execute it physically nearly identical to how it is in their mind. Like, obviously there's going to be trial and error with anything that you do, but, like, this is, we got to admit, this is very impressive for someone being like, I think I'm going to rebuild this traditional knife from the bottom up, and this is what you come up with. Like, that's pretty impressive. I mean, this is built better than you get the original knife from Case. Like, look at how absolutely perfect this is. He integrated a half stop into the model. That is not something that you get from factory. He centered it. That is not something that you get from factory. Centered. Just very, very impressed with the build quality. I believe there are 4 Slaters out in the wild now, which is really exciting. This is, you know, we're just calling it the Slater, and that's basically the configuration of the materials, being the natural vintage crosscut micarta with the orange G10 liners. We're just calling it the Slater, so if you end up contacting him and you want to send him a Soddy, you can just be like, I want this to be turned into a Slater, and he'll know exactly what you're talking about. But this is doing phenomenal. There is not a single thing that has changed about this knife. It has been in my pocket all day, every single day. None of the pins are backing out. The centering is exactly the same as it was in the beginning. We have no blade play side to side. It is just absolutely perfect so far. And look at how nice that looks. The patina is beautiful coming in. He just absolutely nailed this. So he is continuing to do these. A few of my friends on Instagram also have Slaters. He just did an exceptional job on every single one. I will make sure to get him down either in the description or the comments below or whatever. On Instagram, his name is KnifeGuy2112. His name is Josh Francis. I'll get something integrated into this video here so that you can contact him if you want to get one of these, but highly, highly recommend so far. Highly recommend. And there are other people doing this. I know that Box Creek Knife Company, they're doing recovers as well with little lanyard holes and stuff. I don't really know them, so I just, you know, when Josh said he wanted to try it, I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, I'll send you something to work on, because I really like supporting people that I know personally. So it's just doing incredibly well. I can highly recommend sending a knife over to Josh and having him do some mods on it for you. I sent him a few more this morning to continue to work on and toy around with different ideas and stuff. We're working on maybe integrating some washers into the Sodbusters. We are working on maybe toying around with the brass liners and G10 on top of that, and then the micarta, so on and so forth. Just playing around with different ideas. And of course, it has been riding in a Richter Knives slip the entire time. This is holding up exceptionally well. Absolutely beautiful. We also want Michael doing leather work full-time, hopefully by the end of the year, right? That's the goal. So definitely fill up Michael's books as well. He's on YouTube over at Richter Knives. He has an Instagram page, same thing, Richter Knives. I will link him down in the description below. These are two people that you really want to go support, guys, right? Like, I want, especially moving into next year, I really want to focus on supporting not only small businesses, but people that are like a one-man band getting into doing things like this for us. They deserve it, and I think this is a great platform to advocate for their work, to test it out. It would make me so happy to see Michael doing leather work full-time at his house, and maybe somehow Josh doing this full-time down the road, or I know he just got a new job, but just having this as like a reasonable side hustle, that would make me very, very happy. I don't even care about like my own channel and my own whatever. Like, this is what the channel is for. This is what my channel is for, is for finding good people like this and pushing their work and working with them to do something in this world that they love, you know, because I don't get paid for this. Like, I'm not monetized. YouTube doesn't pay me. I don't have a Patreon. Like, this is just in my own time, in my spare time, for fun. And I have developed some really incredible relationships with some really good people like Josh and Michael and Jesse. Jesse sends in a lot of stuff for the channel to get tested. And that's what I want the future of Erica's EDC to look like, is finding people like this and helping them grow their little families and their hobby, because I don't care where my channel goes. There is no goal for mine other than helping other people. I don't give a shit. So please contact Josh, have him redo a Saudi for you. Please contact Michael Richter, have him make you a little slip. That is the update on the testing. I think this is the week 2 update, is it not? Maybe week 3? I don't know. I think it's week 2. But that is the update for the testing, guys. I will see you on the next video. Go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. I will see you all so soon. Take care.